Okay. What does it say? It says do something.
Switch camera.
Oh my, I'm up close and personal on this Facebook Live. I've got some kind of Jurassic Park on the top of my screen. I don't know why.
I don't either.
Oh, Tracy's moving me around. Okay, it's all good. So you are up close and personal in my office. And I am Dr. Polly Heil-Mealey with Abundant Health and Wellness. Now, we are a holistic healthcare clinic right downtown Humble, Main Street, and Avenue C. So if you want to come down and visit me, that's where I am. So I appreciate everybody that has logged in last week and gave me a lot of ideas for our conversation. And so somebody wanted to do, hey Julia, somebody wanted to do probiotics and prebiotics. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm excited to bring this information to you. It's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be some fun information that I'm just giving you for levity's sake. I don't want you to do some of these things, okay? But just giving you some information. So the difference between probiotics and prebiotics. And you know what? I left my other paper in my other office. So that's not going to be good. So if Tracy or Trish is logged in and you are watching this, I need you to come in my office and bring me a paper because I left it on my desk because we were in a hurry and we were trying to get everything logged in. So let me just go from memory because I have a good memory, but I wanted to read you the piece of paper. So a probiotic is a living organism or a colony of organisms or even multiple organisms that live in the GI tract. And what they do is they produce lactic acid and all kinds of different things to help you digest your food. And it also keeps pathogenic bacteria away from the body. And so these are some things that we all need. What destroys your probiotics? Well, antibiotics destroy your probiotics for sure. And so we don't want to do antibiotics. Sometimes we have to. Sometimes we've done it in the past and we haven't really known that we weren't supposed to do that. And so we've done it and now we've got to clean up after it. Now, it's funny when you come in and I'll say, how often have you had antibiotics? And they go, oh, not very often, maybe once or twice a year. Once or twice a year is too many, okay? Every time you have probiotics, you absolutely wipe out the good guys, right? So your probiotics can be good or they can be bad. Obviously, what I have here in the clinic that I'm going to show you is all the good stuff. Hi, Delma. Thanks for watching. If Tracy or Trish is watching, then I need some help back there. I'm breaking up. What? Okay. Okay, Vivian. I will talk to you in a little bit. Okay, so yes, Tracy and Trish, if you're watching this, I need some help because I left my paper in the other room, so that would be very helpful. Hi, Gary. Good to see you there. So, in the probiotic is a starch. It is a food substance that gives food for the probiotics to live on. So you're going to get a lot of your prebiotics if you have a good diet. If you don't have a good diet, then you're going to want to add some prebiotic fiber to your diet. Now, I'm going to go from memory, so if I mess up because I don't have my right paper, y'all bear with me, but it's fructooleosaccharides, I think is how you say that. And this is a sugar from starch. Now, I wanted to show you, and I didn't bring it in. Tracy's watching. Tracy has logged in. Tracy, I need you to come back here, please. We have our candy bar in the front office that is full of these fructooleosaccharides, and so it's a great probiotic for that. So that would be something that we would want you to kind of look at. So that's what a prebiotic is actually the food that your probiotics need to survive. So this probiotic that we have, this is my favorite one because it has your prebiotic and your probiotic and it is in the spore form. So why do you need it in the spore form? You need it in the spore form so it goes through the digestive tract, lands in the large intestine where it needs to flourish so that your bowels operate the way they need to. So this is why we prefer this one. Now, we do have other ones in the clinic, and I'm going to talk to you about that as well. So that's kind of an overview as far as the probiotics and prebiotics. Now, with the, this is the same brand as the other one. This one is called Saccharomyces boulardii. Okay, I don't know why they have to name these strange names, but anyway, this is a probiotic that lives in the small intestine. Now, if you're looking at your body, right, put your hand over where your tummy is, and then just right under that, right above the navel, is where your small intestines are. So these probiotics populate the small intestine, and they help become the food for your neurotransmitters. Now, your neurotransmitters live in the brain, and your neurotransmitters help you sleep, help you think, help you process information. So there are just a lot of good things that I'm learning about neurotransmitters because we're doing a lot of brain work with our HRV and that kind of thing. So if you have trouble sleeping, if you've got anxiety, all that kind of stuff, then you might want to use these probiotics in the small intestine because they help provide food that your neurotransmitters are made from. So everything is absolutely connected to everything else, and so we want to make sure that you know that. Now, we're going to talk about some different strains of probiotics. So when you go into the grocery store and you're getting probiotics, then you're not necessarily getting what you need, and you're not necessarily getting the strands that your particular body needs. Every person has their own native microbiota, right? So microbiota means the personal microorganisms that you have in your GI tract. Now, this is really interesting because when people get married, they share their microbiota. So your microbiota lives in all of your GI tract, mucous membrane biome, we'll call it that. So in your nasal passages, in your mouth, in your GI tract, in your small intestine, large intestine, and ladies, in your vagina. So anytime there is intercourse going on, you are sharing your native microflora with your partner. So this is why whenever people come together and they have conjugal relations, you are sharing that microbiota. So over time, in a monogamous relationship, the microbiota synchronizes and doesn't fight each other. Now, just so you guys know, and we've said this before in another post, and you may be looking at it or you may not be looking at it, but one of the things you need to know is that the vaginal tract is acidic, where the sperm is alkaline. And so whenever there's intercourse, you've got this mix of fluids that this microbiome comes together. And so when that does, if they fight each other, if there's a problem, it messes up the pH, and it can cause you to have different kinds of yeast infections, obviously STDs and that kind of thing. So your probiotics, ladies, will protect you from STDs. Now, hopefully none of us are out there having unsafe sex and being, just not good. But the lactobacillus is the predominant strain in the vagina. The lactobacillus secretes just different things that help keep the vaginal tract germ-free. So this is something that you need to know. And there's another little, we'll go with that. Well, stay tuned. We'll hopefully get to that a little bit later. Tracy, I know you're watching, but you're obviously not listening. I know things are going on in the front office, so if you could come back and help me with my paper, I could appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go by memory, and it's not going to be good. So, okay, so back to the strains of probiotics. So we've got Lactobacillus plantarum. we've got Lactobacillus acidophilus. Now, you can go into your health food store, you can go into your big box stores or whatever, and you'll see acidophilus, or you'll see bifidophilus, or you'll see lactobacillus. And what you don't know is that acidophilus really is a lactobacillus too. It's just a different strain. So I want to talk to you about what these different strains do for you so that you can make a good choice. Lactobacillus acidophilus supports digestion, particularly lactose digestion, and it boosts the immune system. So lactose digestion. Lactose is what you are trying to digest when you have dairy products or milk products and that kind of thing. So that's why Lactobacillus acidophilus, I can't say these words, is a really good choice if you have milk allergies or you find milk very, very hard to digest. Now, the Lactobacillus plantarum produces L-lysine. L-lysine is an amino acid that supports calcium absorption, hormone production, and it boosts the immune system. It is often used as a remedy for bowel disorders. Now, what you may or may not know, if you get a lot of cold sores, you have the herpes simplex virus, which is what the cold sore virus is, then you will come into the clinic and you'll say, Dr. Polly, I have cold sores, and I will recommend that you get L-lysine. Well, if you have the Lactobacillus plantarum, then you're going to be making that L-lysine, and it might stop those lesions from coming up. So that's something to know. Okay, so we've got also Lactobacillus salivarius. It sounds like it has something to do with your saliva. Lactobacillus salivarius fights unwanted microbes in the mouth and in the small intestine. So maybe that's why it's called salivarius, because it works in the mouth as well. It's considered essential for oral health. This strain, as do many, thrives when provided with prebiotic foods such as banana, barley, tomatoes, and garlic. So we talked about prebiotics a while ago. So these are some of the foods: bananas, barley, tomatoes, and garlic. Who does not like those foods? One of my favorite soups in the winter is barley broth, just because it's just yum. It is just absolutely yum. All right, so we've got Bacillus coagulans. Bacillus coagulans are in the spore form, and we've got that in the probiotic 42.5. 42.5 is a different brand, but it has that spore form in there as well. So that's really, really good. We have got Lactobacillus casei, C-A-S-S-E-I. I may not be saying that right. Let me look at my paper. And I don't have any other information on that. We've got Bifidobacterium infantis, right? This supports the digestive system by releasing an acid that keeps harmful organisms from taking hold, especially helpful for people suffering from digestive ailments and occasional constipation. We've got Bifidobacterium bifidum, which is the household name in probiotic strains, if there is such a thing. It keeps unwanted bacteria out, eases digestion, boosts the immune system, plays an important role in immune function and allergic response. It encourages normal, youthful, healthy-looking skin. So if you've got skin issues, you might want to do Bifidobacterium bifidum. Now, this is probably what's labeled as bifidophilus, okay? So you want to have a probiotic that has that. There's another Bifidobacterium longum. This keeps your acid levels balanced. This is especially helpful in someone taking antibiotics. So we need to look at that as well. We've got Lactobacillus bulgarius. This helps create natural antibiotics in your gut that fight invading organism. It also releases that acids that neutralize toxins and promote balance, right? So this is good. We also have one that's called Lactobacillus rhamnosus. Rhamnosus sounds like a dinosaur here. Generally cited for promoting a happy and healthy gut environment. This lactobacillus also has a reputation for helping with UTIs by kickstarting antibodies and boosting the immune system. Now, that's just a lot of information. So I'm going to tell you what products we have that have the most of these strains, because that's really what you want to know, right? So what causes our probiotics to dissipate, right? We have stress in our life. We all have stress. When you look at the news or when you're driving in Houston traffic, that's stressful enough, right? And so stress kills your probiotics. Chlorine kills your probiotics. So if you're bathing in water or showering in water that does not have a chlorine filter, you're killing your probiotics. Coffee, alcohol, soda, all of that kills your probiotics. So does everyone need to have good probiotics? Yes, everyone needs to have good probiotics. If you have taken antibiotics anytime in your lifetime, you have to repopulate the good bacteria with good probiotics. They're in the spore form that get to where they need to so that they can repopulate your area, right? So a lot of what you see on the TV says that you can use yogurt to repopulate your probiotics because they have live cultures. Well, yes, they do, but there's been no scientific studies that say that the live cultures in a yogurt will repopulate the bowel. There are also the colony forming unit, CFU, is much, much less in a food with live cultures than it is in the probiotic supplement. Now, you can also use fermented foods like sauerkraut. You can use that as a probiotic. Anything that you ferment or pickle, anything like that will have probiotics as well. So let me open this up for questions. If you have any questions, feel free. So I want to talk to you about some of the probiotics that we have. Now, I've shown you this. This is it just says Flora Centropy. Now, Centropy is kind of sounding like the word symphony, right? And there's different strains in this lactobacillus, but they're all in spore form. So you can use this orally. You can open it up and sprinkle it on your food if you're using, if you have children and that kind of thing. You can also, because it's live, you can also open up a capsule, and when you're changing the baby, if you'll open up a capsule and just sprinkle the contents right on the anus, the little bugs will go in where they need to be and they'll repopulate the baby's GI tract. So that would be good if you have a baby that has had a lot of diarrhea or that kind of thing. They're dehydrated. You've had to give them antibiotics. This is a really good way to get those probiotics back in there. So this one is my favorite one. This is the one I take. Now, we've got this probiotic 42.5. Which I talked to you about a while ago. And it has in it, let me tell you what it has. It's got the Lactobacillus plantarum, the Lactobacillus acidophilus, the Lactobacillus salivarius, the Bacterium longum, the Bacillus coagulans, and the Lactobacillus casei. It's got all of those in there. Greater than 5 billion CFUs. So that's what you need in order to repopulate what you have. Rolanda is saying, what is my thoughts on coconut kefir? I'm good with that. I think that's good. That's a fermented drink, and thanks for bringing that up. You've got kefir, you've got kombucha, you've got all those other kind of things, which is fine. But there's not been any medical studies that have been shown to see that they repopulate, whereas on the supplements, we do have studies that show that they repopulate the bowel. So that's a good question. I don't have any problem with you doing that at all. It's a great it's great supplement. You need it. But if you have real problems, then you're going to have a more potent supplement. So the 42.5 also has the Bifidobacterium bifidum, which is in the spore form. It also has the dinosaur-sounding one, the Bifidophilus rhinoceros. It's got 1,500,000,000 colony-forming units. It's also got the Bifidobacterium infantis, 1 billion, Lactobacillus bulgarius, 1 billion CFU. So it's got quite a lot in it. We've got another one that's called Transbiotic, and we sell out of this a lot. They want you, the information says that this is one that you would take if you're traveling, because you go and you have different water, you have different bugs on the salad and the fruit and that kind of thing, so if you're traveling. But this one also helps against E. coli bacteria. So you know how when you travel and you can get Montezuma's Revenge and all that kind of good stuff? Well, the Transbiotic has that probiotic that produces the acid that kills the E. coli. So that's really, really good. Now, women, we've talked about this before, but you can actually insert a spore form lactobacillus in the vagina at night to repopulate. Now, as you get older, there are some things that happen with menopause, and one of those things is vaginal atrophy and more susceptibility to candida. So if you put the lactobacillus, you insert that into the vagina at night, it has all night to go where it needs to go and repopulate those tissues. So that's a really good thing. So I wanted to tell you something that's funny. We talked about using yogurt to repopulate your probiotics, and I've already said that's not just quite a great thing, but it's something that you can do. Hey, Nisi, thanks for joining. One of the things that you can do, this has been tried in Australia. It's not been tried here as far as I know, but of course I don't know everything. But a lady in Australia decided she wanted to see, Crunchy Mama for sure, she wanted to see if she could culture yogurt from her vaginal fluids. Now, I don't recommend this, right? You're going to get other things besides your lactobacillus. But she decided that she was going to do that. And in fact, she did. And you know that you can take a starter and you can make your own yogurt. As a young mom, I did that for my kids. I did homemade yogurt. Now, I did not use any of my own secretions, just do that disclaimer out there. I used a all natural yogurt with no additives as my starter, and then I, much like you do sourdough bread or friendship bread or something like that, you have to have a starter. I had a little electronic gizmo that you fill the little cups with the starter, and then you put whatever you put in there. I don't remember, it's been too long, but we made our own yogurt. So this lady in Australia did this with her own fluids, and she said it was quite tart. And she talked to her healthcare practitioner about it, and the healthcare practitioner said, yeah, you're getting other stuff that you don't want. So we discontinued that. So that was probably a good thing. But I thought that was kind of funny because people just think that all parts are edible and maybe not so. So that's just kind of a little fun fact for you. So if you do make your own yogurt, you want to get probiotics that are in the spore form that can survive digestion. So the Flora Centribe would be my go-to on that. The probiotic 42.5 also would be good as well. They're both in capsule form, I think. Yes, they're all in capsule form. Jerusalem artichoke also is a good prebiotic, and the 42.5 has that Jerusalem artichoke in there as well. So that's a good thing. Now, Jerusalem artichoke, just so you know, Jerusalem artichoke is a plant, and you can actually distill it. I'm not an herbalist, so I don't know exactly how they do that. But I do know Jerusalem artichoke is really, really good for strep and staph infection. So that's something that you would maybe want to know. So I don't see that there's any more questions here, and I've given you a lot of information. One of the questions that people ask us is they've heard that probiotics need to be refrigerated. Well, probiotics actually do not need to be refrigerated, especially in the spore form. So the spore form is very, very stable. You don't want to leave it in a window that has a lot of sun streaming through and that kind of thing. You don't want to do that for any herbs unless you're trying to distill an herb, and then you need that direct sunlight. But you want to take your probiotics at night. Now, sometimes when we're trying to reboot the system, we will recommend that you take 2 every mealtime, but most of the time we want you to take your probiotics at night, because at night is when your digestive system is resting and they have more time to go in and populate. Things are not moving. You're not moving your bowels. You're not doing any of that kind of thing. There's no digestion going on because you go to bed quite a few hours after you've eaten. So normally we recommend that you do that. So if you have digestive complaints, if you have a lot of diarrhea, if you have Crohn's disease, if you have IBS, we sometimes recommend the flooding technique. Now, what does that mean? That means you would take 10 to 12 to 13 probiotics at night for 3 nights in a row to really flood the system to help knock out some infection. So that's something that we sometimes recommend for somebody who has had chronic diarrhea or their stomach's really upset because of antibiotics and that kind of thing. So that's something that we do recommend. Normally, the good time to take it is at night. Normally, when we're doing a rebuild protocol, we'll do 2 at meals. Now, lunchtime is kind of hard for me because I'm doing all of this. Hey, Tola. I don't always get lunch. So normally I will do my probiotics in the morning and in the evening just to make sure that I have a lot going on. I don't drink very much coffee. Sodas are almost non-existent, and so I don't have to worry about all that. Stress is just part of life, and I do not have a chlorine filter on my shower, so I probably get some chlorine from that, which destroys probiotic. I have not had antibiotics in probably, I had a minor surgery in 2010, so I probably had them then, but before that, it had been just years and years and years, and I haven't had any since 2010. So I'm pretty good on the probiotic front, but I do take them from time to time. Remember, I always do RCCP at least once a year, and part of the components of RCCP is the fluorocentropy, and so I take that, and I'm taking it now. I have taken it most of this year. Not that it's been a bad year. It's just been, I just think my body needs it, and so I do it. So hopefully I've answered most of your questions when it comes to probiotics. Now, if you do want to substitute yogurt for instead of a supplement, you're going to have to consume 80 little cups of yogurt in a week in order to have any kind of beneficial effect, right? So I eat yogurt every morning, but I'm telling you, I do not eat 80 cups of yogurt. And I will just tell you, if you're eating the yogurt in a cup, you're probably not even really eating yogurt. It's a yogurt type food. It probably has a lot of sugar in it. It probably has things that are not organic in it. So that's something that you need to kind of look at. My yogurt, I'll just tell you, I go to the grocery, hubby goes to the grocery store, and he buys me Stonyfield organic vanilla yogurt. That's what he buys me. It is it's all organic. It's USDA organic, stamped on the container, and it's non-GMO. Okay, so that's what I recommend. And I like the vanilla flavoring, and it's flavored with vanilla bean. It's a natural flavoring. If he buys me the kind that doesn't have a flavoring, I will add a teaspoon of honey because I like a little bit of sweetness in the morning, and I find yogurt to be a little bit tart. So Stonyfield is what I get, and I don't get the low fat. I get full fat, whole milk. That's what I get, and I love it. And it'd be great to give to your children. It's great to give to your husband. If you do, you make your own sauces, like I'm thinking about sour cream, guacamole, all that kind of stuff. You want to put some yogurt in. You don't want to put the vanilla flavoring in. You want to put just your regular tartness. You can add that to your guacamole. You can add it to your baked potato. I know a lot of people like to put ranch dressing on their baked potato. I know my kiddos like to do that. You can add the seasonings for ranch dressing into your yogurt, and that would be a really good topping. So if you wanted to do that, you could incorporate yogurt into your food plan like that. So mine doesn't come in the cups. It comes in I think it's a pint. Maybe it's 2 pints. I don't know. It's a big one. I'll go through one in a week. So I know I would not be doing it. I would not be doing the 80 cups. I did read this past week. I know a lot of moms give their babies Go-Gurt. Go-Gurt is not good. It is too full of sugar, as is the Danimals. I know that, I'm not looking at anything right now, but I think if memory serves, Dannon has a children's version, and I think it's got a dinosaur motif or something like that. It's full of sugar, and it's not really a yogurt product. So if you want to do your yogurt for your babies, I would suggest that you do homemade yogurt, because then you know what's in it, and you can be sure that it is healthy. If you want to add your own honey to make it sweet for the baby, that's good, because that's good. Now, with very, very young infants, of course, they ask you not to give them honey, I think, until they're a year old. I'm not so sure that I agree with that, but that is the conventional wisdom, that you don't give babies honey too soon. So we'll just leave it at that. My time is up. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you. Be sure and enjoy this lovely weather. Summer's coming, where it's going to be difficult to get outside on the weekend. But enjoy this weather. Do what you need to do. And I love you, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much.